Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock, and I'd like to call the June 2nd, 2022 Columbia County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. If you'd stand with us, Commissioner Wilder will lead us in the pledge, and the members of Troop 119 will lead us in the invocation. Members of Troop 119 pledge.
Fellas Thunder. How about with this? Dear Lord, we want to thank you for yet another beautiful day here. I thank you for all the many blessings you bestow upon us. Look after our first responders that keep our country, where all the bad things that have been happening here lately. We ask that you look over us this evening, and that everyone that took time to come here tonight to watch with us, safe passage back to them. All these things in Jesus' name.
Gentlemen.
United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and if I could please remind you to silence your cell phones during the meeting. We do have all 5 commissioners present tonight for a 100% quorum. Gentlemen, I apologize for being absent the last meeting. However, I understand that Mr. Dempsey did an outstanding job chairing the meeting. I need approval of the minutes from the last meeting, if you've had time to approve it.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Motion passes for approval of the minutes 4 with 1 abstention. Gentlemen, you've also had a chance to review the agenda for this evening. If there are no amendments or changes to that agenda, or additions to that agenda, should I say, I need approval for the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Okay, all in favor? Motion to approve the agenda as submitted passes 5-0. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to clarify that the Planning Commission is a recommending body to the Columbia County Board of Commissioners. The decisions made on rezoning and variance requests tonight will be forwarded to the Commissioners for final action on June 21st, 2022 at 6 p.m. in these same chambers. If you wish to address the Board of Commissioners at their meeting, please see Ms. Kara Harden, and she'll provide you with a request to speak form for that particular meeting. We're less formal. I see several familiar faces out there, but if you are not, if you have something that you'd like to add to one of our public hearing items tonight, please raise your hand and we'll call you up to the microphone, and you can take 3 to 5 minutes to add whatever you'd like to be officially included in the record to the commissioners. You will have a second opportunity to appear or to request to speak to this body during the public hearing or the public comments section, where if there's anything that's not on the agenda item that you list of agenda items that you'd like to include for the record, please raise your hand. And again, we'll ask you to come up and take 3 to 5 minutes to give us whatever you'd like to speak about. That being said, we'll move into our first item tonight, which is file RZ 220505. Piece of unfinished business for rezoning, and Mr. Butler, I believe that's yours.
It is. Same as Sheriff's request for a major PUD revision at 935 Ellis Lane to revise building setbacks for a proposed pool house and fence, currently zoned plan unit development. This location of the property on the intersection of Little Ellis Circle and Ellis Lane over in the Riverwood development. Current zoning is plan unit development, as noted before. Also aerial view of the site and the existing site as well. And also the plat, excuse me, sorry about the plat. So the plan that's before you this evening, we did have to work on a little bit from before to kind of move some things around, kind of some changes by the applicant. It's in a really good place for the recommendation itself. What you're looking at is a proposed pool house here and also a pavilion. It's a little bit over 1,600 square feet in the size, and we're also dealing with a fence here. You saw the fence before in the previous picture that will be moving towards the street. They do have HOA approval, if you were curious about that. In terms of the actual elevations of the plan itself, this shows the proposed pool house. This is the front elevation, rear elevation, and the 2 sides. So in terms of the request itself, again, we're looking at an encroachment of a little bit under 4 feet. It's going to be about 16 feet 7 inches from the property line. The front setback is 20 feet from the property line, so a small encroachment there. Also, you can see kind of how the house is on the property. This is in the MBL, and as it goes back, it kind of gets a little further into it. So again, not a huge encroachment there. But again, one of the things that is good is that this area here is the green space, so there won't be a house immediately adjacent to the property. As you move down the street, it won't really be noticeable as you kind of go down and see it kind of jut out a little bit. So again, not really an impact on the streetscape itself. In terms of the fence, again, moving forward to about 7 feet 6 inches from the property line. Again, similar to the house itself. Not really huge encroachment there either. Due to all this, staff does recommend approval of the request. I include a staff recommendation.
Mr. Butler, I know several meetings ago, we had an issue with an ancillary structure in Spring Lakes. Does this trigger, this is a similar structure, does this trigger anything in this development?
So the good thing about Riverwood, they do allow ancillary dwelling to be placed on any lot within this part of the development itself. So you don't have the issue with the lot size that we dealt with before. This is under the 800 square feet. In our opinion, that would still hold sway if they were to build a structure on the site. That would be the county code side would hold sway in that situation. This is technically not a ancillary dwelling. There is not a bedroom indicated on the plans. If they do add one in the future, it's still under the 800 square feet, so it won't be an issue.
Great, thank you. Gentlemen, any other questions, staff? Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll reopen the public hearing from the meeting from May 19th. Is the applicant here? Yep, is there anything you'd like to come forward and add? All right, thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, accept a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve file RZ 22-05-05, major PUD revision at 935 Ellis Lane to reduce the front building setback for proposed pool house and fence.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve passes 5-0. Mr. Butler, we have a massage operator's license for a distant relative of yours, maybe?
No relation as far as I know. This is a massage operator's license for Treasurer Butler, DBA Budding at 4434 Columbia Road, Suite 204, and also offering mobile massage from this location. They meet the requirements of the ordinance, and staff recommends approval of the massage operator's license.
Gentlemen, any questions, staff? Okay, this is not a public hearing, so I need a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Treasurer Butler, DBA Budding, on 4434 Columbia Suite 204 for a massage operator.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve passes 5-0. Mr. Butler will stay with you for a county-initiated rezoning. Tax map 082 Delta parcels 072, 073, and 074.
Yeah, so we don't do many county-initiated rezonings. These three parcels, well, I'll just say there's been some mistakes made with how they've been interpreted in terms of the planning and development narrative. So in order to fix that, we're gonna have to do a county-initiated rezoning in order to change the use to what has actually been built there. And again, just kind of go through real quick kind of where this is. Again, it's on New Pearsburg Drive. These three quadruplexes that the zoning actually does not permit as they were constructed. Again, it shows the current planning and development of the parcel. And air review of the site just to get you an idea of, again, what the quadruplexes that are there. And again, staff does recommend initiation of a major PUD revision to revise the uses for the subject properties.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, any questions, staff? Okay, this is not a public hearing, so I'll need a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve county initiated zoning. PUD revision 208, 210, 212, New Peter. Parcel 72.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve passes 5-0. Ms. Montgomery, we've got an individual plat for Abundance Point.
Yes, sir. This is an individual plat for property off Mistletoe Road, quite a distance off Mistletoe Road, in fact. Currently zoned R4 recreational residential to create 4 lots. This is the location of the property. This is Camper Club Road here winding its way back. That is the access for this property. We did have a rezoning proposed for this property in 2021. That was disapproved earlier this year by the Board of Commissioners. So we do have a revised master plan for the property showing how the applicant intends to develop the property over time in accordance with the current R4 zoning. So that includes the 12 residential lots as well as the clubhouse and horticultural space and community recreation uses such as boat docks and trails. Again, all of these uses are allowed under the current zoning district. The current request is to subdivide the first 3 of those 12 lots. This requires Planning Commission approval because of the current state of Camper Club Road in particular, which is effectively a shared easement. It has no dedicated right-of-way. It already serves 5 parcels, and county code does limit easements to providing access to no more than 4 lots ordinarily. So any additional subdivision of any parcel off of that easement will require Planning Commission approval. So at this time, again, the request is to create the first 3 of these lots. The intent is still to develop Camper Club Road as a paved road. In theory, the sale of these lots would fund those improvements and allow the development of the rest of the master plan. At this time, the property is being accessed via this ingress and egress easement. In the future, that would also be platted out as a separate private road, but at this time, we're using the easement to avoid subdividing the property into even more parcels by the road right-of-way. Staff did have a proposed condition with the S1 to allow these first 3 lots to be subdivided prior to the road improvements. Therefore, we don't have any particular concerns with allowing the 3 lots to be created. However, we do wish to note both that with it creating 4 lots, that is the maximum that can be created under the minor plat process, and also that any future subdivision will require that Camper Club Road be improved. With those caveats, staff is recommending approval.
All right, gentlemen, do you have any questions of staff? Okay, this is
No condition.
no condition. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, this is not a public hearing, so I'll need a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the individual plat for Abundance Point located at 3850 Camper Club Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve passes 5-0. Ms. Montgomery will stay with you, preliminary plat for Tillery Park South.
Yes, sir, this is the preliminary plat for Tillery Park South located off Baker Place Road. This is the location of the property south of the Tillery Park up here and Canterbury Farms to the east. It is providing connectivity between these 2 developments. It is currently zoned planned residential development as the extension of Tillery Park. This section includes 67 single-family lots with a minimum lot size of 7,150 square feet. The required setbacks per the PRD are 25 feet from the right-of-way, 7.5 feet from the side property lines, and 10 feet from the rear property lines. Sidewalks and street trees are to be provided on both sides of the roads and will connect to sidewalks in Tillery Park and Canterbury Farms. There's just over 14 acres of the site that remains as open space, including the required 50-foot buffer, as well as park areas within the project. And staff is recommending approval.
Gentlemen, any questions of staff? Okay, this is not a public hearing, so I'll need a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Tillery Park South located at Baker Place Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Approved passes 5-0. Ms. Montgomery, final plat for Gramod Farms, Section 2.
Yes, sir, this is the final plat for Section 2 of Gramod Farms located off White Oak Road and currently zoned RA Residential Agricultural. This is the location at the back of the existing Gramod Farms. And the final plat includes 20 additional single-family lots with a minimum lot size of 2.5 acres in accordance with the RA zoning district and an average lot size of 3.28 acres. Required setbacks are a minimum of 75 feet from the right-of-way, 10 feet from the side property lines, and 25 feet from the rear property lines. There is no dedicated open space in this subdivision since there are larger acreage lots. And this is a photo of the existing site. And staff is recommending approval.
Okay, gentlemen, any questions of staff? Okay, seeing none, this is not a public hearing. I'll need a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the final plat for Gramod Farms, Section 2, located off White Oak Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve passes 4-0. Ms. Montgomery, this is our last final plat for Highland Lakes, Section 1, Charlie.
Yes, sir. This is the next section of Highland Lakes located off William Few Parkway and currently zoned R2 single-family residential. This is the location of the section outlined in the blue. And this section includes 18 single-family lots with a minimum lot size of 10,875 square feet, which does meet the requirements for the R2 zoning district. The average lot size is 11,616 square feet, and the required setbacks are 55 feet from the center line of the road and 10 feet from the side and rear property lines. Sidewalks and street trees will be provided on both sides of the road, and while we don't see any open space in this particular section, the neighborhood as a whole does include a significant passive open space as well as an amenity area. That amenity area is nearly complete. This development did have a condition that they could not final plat more than 150 lots prior to completion of that amenity area. They have it, to this point, platted 149 lots, so they will have to have the final CO and completion on that amenity area before this plat is released from plan review. And this is a photo of the existing site. And the amenity area, which you can see is well underway. And staff is recommending approval subject to the satisfaction of the zoning conditions and the interdepartmental comments.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions, staff? This is not a public hearing, so I'll need a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve with conditions the final plat for Highland Lake, Section 1C, located off William Few Parkway.
Do I hear a
Just to-
second?
Just to
Ma'am?
clarify, there weren't conditions on the staff recommendation.
There were no
Okay.
conditions.
I take back the conditions.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve passes 5-0. Ms. Montgomery, this is your final item for tonight, I believe, a provisional home occupation for Baskets of Beauty.
Yes, sir. This is a request for a provisional home occupation for Basket of Beauty plant sales at 3841 East White Oak Road. This is the location of the property on the north side of East White Oak Road, near the county line, and currently zoned RA Residential Agricultural. You can see the White Oak Campground to the west and other RA and M1 properties near the interstate surrounding this site. This is the aerial of the site showing the existing house. And the applicant's proposal is to grow and sell plants on the property. This utilizes a small greenhouse, as well as some additional space, wires and display racks for hanging and growing the plants. This is intended to be a smaller scale business than a full-scale nursery, but since it is more commercial than agricultural in nature, staff did recommend that they receive provisional home occupation approval prior to receiving a business license. For this business, the applicants are proposing to operate 3 days a week, Thursday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and it is a seasonal business. It would be open April through September. There is a trip limit for home occupations that has been communicated to the applicants, and they have agreed to monitor the trips to the site and, if necessary, to close early to stay in compliance with that 12-vehicle trip per day limit. Overall, the scale of the use is fairly small, utilizing the single greenhouse, 2 parking spaces on the site, and the additional space for the racks and wires to display the plants. The adjacent properties include more intense commercial uses, such as the campground, as well as vacant residential and industrially zoned properties, which are not likely to be negatively impacted by this business. And staff is recommending approval with the condition that they do comply with the 12-vehicle trip limit to the residents per day.
I have one question. Will they have to apply for a seasonal business license or a regular business license? 'Cause
There'll be
I
a
know
regular license.
Okay, because I know the strawberry vendors around have a 90-day seasonal.
Right, but that is because they are temporary.
Right, okay.
Since this would be a permanent location, they would get a
Got it.
regular license.
Got it. Okay. Gentlemen, any questions, staff? Okay, this is not a public hearing, so I'll need a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Condition with the, Chairman, I make a motion to approve home occupation for Basket of Beauty located at 3841 White Oak Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Approve passes 5-0. Mr. Butler, we have, first 2 items are linked. Would you like to present both of them at the same time or handle them individually? I know we'll have to vote individually, but would you like to present the rezoning and the variance at the same time?
Tough decision. So I'm thinking I'll just present one at a time. That's fine.
All right, sounds good. First item is file RZ 220601.
This request for rezoning to C2, from C2 and C3 at 191 Baston Road to eliminate split zoning on the property. This location of the property on the west side of Baston Road. Probably to the north is zone C2, probably to the west is zone PUD as part of Petersburg Place, probably to the south is zone C3, and then probably across Baston Road to the east is zone C2, and we're dealing with that little section there that's zone C3 in the different shade of red. Here's an aerial view of the site. The reason that we're doing this, actually I'll show you in a minute, never mind. It shows the existing site and also the plat of the property. So the reason that we're having to address the zoning of the property and also the variance here in a bit is they're adding this proposed warehouse here. It's an expansion of more than 25% of the site. So they're having to address all nonconformities on the site. So we'll be dealing with some of that in the next application, but this is just for basically this little piece here on the south side of zone C3. Again, in terms of future development, this is within a mixed-use activity center. This does permit this type of use, so it's definitely in keeping with that. Also, elimination of any split zoning is preferable for at least me. Others may feel differently, but that is how we're addressing that. Due to this issue, or due to all these factors, staff recommends rezoning to C2 for expansion of the current use and recommends approval. That includes staff recommendation.
Thank you. Gentlemen, any questions to staff? All right, is the applicant here this evening? This is a public hearing. Is there anything you'd like to add to the presentation? All right, thank you very much. This is a public hearing, as I've stated. Is there anyone that'd like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, accept a motion to approve, disapprove, or to postpone.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve file RZ 220601, rezoning from C2 and C3 to C2 at 191 Baston Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor? To approve passes 5-0. Mr. Butler, the companion variance file VA 220601.
This is a request for a variance, sections 9-98 lists lot and structure requirements, 9-139 buffers and screening, introduce building setbacks and buffers at 191 Baston Road. This is the location of the property, again, west side of Baston Road. And the current zoning, C2 and C3, and then adjacent to it, you have what we already talked about before. There's an aerial view of the site, and also the existing site, and the plat. And on this site plan, it better explains kind of what we're reducing here. So at the back of it, the only place that we're reducing the building setback is back in the back here of the existing building. It's supposed to be a 20-foot setback. It's right at 19 feet. So that would be actually a minor waiver if we're only having to address that. But again, that would be reduced. The buffer you can see here would be a 30-foot buffer as required. That's being reduced down to 12 feet. And there's already existing fence and plantings back there. So it's, again, meeting the intent, but also reducing it down to what is currently there. Then on the south side, you have reducing it here to 4 feet and then reducing it to 0 on the other portion of the property. And you do have a reduction down to 20 feet on this side here for the buffer. Again, this is already in place. There's already fences there. We are going to have to work on the landscaping. That's going to be an alternate plan. We're going to work through that at staff levels. That's not included with this variance. Again, this is all addressing existing issues. We're not aware of any concerns from other property owners. So staff is very comfortable with this request. Due to these factors, staff does recommend approval of the request to reduce building setbacks and buffers on the property.
Gentlemen, any questions, staff? Again, the applicant's here. Is there anything you'd like to add? All right, this is a public hearing. Is anyone like to speak either for or against this particular variance? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and accept a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to postpone.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve file VA 220601, variance to reduce buffers and setbacks at 191 Baston Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Approved passes 5-0. The next two items, file RZ 220602 and variance 220602, have been asked to withdraw without prejudice. However, they have been advertised. So we'll go ahead and conduct the initial public hearing tonight. And I assume that the applicant is here to talk about why they want to withdraw without prejudice, which means they will be allowed to come back within 6 months. Let's say we had voted against this thing tonight, they would be out of the box for 6 months, if my memory serves correct, before they could come back and conduct anything to do with this particular rezoning. So that being said, Mr. Butler, file RZ 220602.
Thanks for the request for rezoning from R1 to CC for a retail center at 5221, 5225, and 5233 Columbia Road, approximately 11.2 acres, all combined. Shows location of the property on the north side of Columbia Road. In terms of zoning, again, currently zoned R1. To the north, you have Four Oaks, which is R2 RCO. To the east and south, you have R1, and then to the east, you have S1 for Lewis Memorial United Methodist Church. In terms of this shows the aerial view of the property, and you do have several residential properties on the site. The variance we'll be dealing with in a moment deals with access to these properties behind it. And this shows the existing site. Again, there is currently some road work out there. And the plat of the property. And also the provided concept plan for the property itself. It does show about 60,000 square feet of commercial development with 2 out parcels. Did have sewer access was available to it with the lift station. So that's kind of what the overall design intent was. Again, this would not be a concept that's locked in or anything like that. This is more of here's what we could develop here. There's no vesting or anything with this if it were to move forward. So in terms of future development, it is on the, it's kind of in, it's on the corner, or on the periphery of an activity center, the commercial center there. As we talked about before, there is the ability for that thing to grow organically as it moves out. But again, these parcels are currently within the neighborhood's character area. One of the things that we looked at with the review of the property, we have had a request here for C2 for a development. But again, you don't have a lot of development in this commercial center. The intent is for it to grow from the middle of it out, not kind of go to the edge and start working its way, out from that. Again, it's supposed to grow from the middle out. In our opinion, this hasn't really happened at this time, so we were recommending disapproval of the request due to those factors. However, staff does recommend acceptance of the request to withdraw without prejudice by the applicant. Includes staff recommendation.
Gentlemen, any questions? Is the applicant here? This is a public hearing. Mr. Hogg, would you like to come up and add anything to this? No, sir. All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Yep. Whichever. We'll take you both. Yes, ma'am. Please come up to the microphone and give us your name and home address.
I represent Four Oaks subdivision.
Okay. Could you give us your name and home address?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Amber Wilson, 260 Palisade Ridge, Evans. And I represent Four Oaks subdivision. Some of us came out this evening to disapprove. We agreed with the board and their disapproval as we felt like it was an overdevelopment for that area. And it was just kind of premature in the 2035 vision plan to allow something of that size to go in at this time.
All right, gentlemen, any questions? Okay, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you coming out. Yes, sir, would you like to come up? Please give us your name and home address.
My name is Talon Bohannon. It's 5243 Columbia Road. It's the north side property, proposed site. My concern was for the easement of drive to the back of the property, where we have 2 residences, for postal service as well as utilities disturbance or relocation. So at this time, without any further information for that, our decision.
Mr. Bohannon, there is a companion variance along with this that does address that easement, so.
All right.
All right, is that what you're looking for, as to whether an easement would be granted?
That was part of it. The
Okay.
other issue was the seclusion of the property. Our concern was just for safety and privacy.
Okay.
But quick question for you. Do you live back there?
I do.
Did they ever come and talk to you about that?
They did not.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Must have thought they did.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak either for or against this particular rezoning? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and accept a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to allow to withdraw without prejudice.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to allow to withdraw without prejudice file RZ 220602, rezoning from R1 to CC, 5221, 5225, and 5033 Columbia Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of allowing the applicant to withdraw without prejudice? Motion to withdraw without prejudice passes 5-0. Mr. Butler, the companion variance that addresses the easement, file VA 220602.
No, Sheriff's request for a variance, section I-139, buffers and screenings for the driveway through a buffer at 5233 Columbia Road, currently zoned R1. This is the location of the property on the north side of Columbia Road, again, currently zoned R1. And the aerial view of the property, and also the existing site. This is where the actual current driveway is, just for reference. And the plat of the property. And the side, what we were dealing with, again, this has also been requested to be withdrawn without prejudice as well, is that if this were to be developed, there will be a driveway or an access point that would go through here, and then they would have to be able to cross the buffer. One of the things within the buffer code doesn't require you to have, or doesn't allow you to have a drive through your buffer. So that's why there would be a request to allow that. A little different request. I only know of one property in Columbia County that has an access through a commercial property for a residential or for a residential development that goes through a commercial property. It's in a similar manner to this. That's over off of Bel Air Road, but it actually has two entrances, so it's one that you don't actually have to use it. So this will be it's a bit rare in the county, we'll say. If we were recommending approval of the whole application, we would also be recommending approval of this. However, with the recommendation of disapproval, we would recommend disapproval of this as well. However, they have requested to withdraw without prejudice. And staff does recommend approval of that request to withdraw.
All right, gentlemen, any questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. Mr. Hogg, is there anything you'd like to add? Okay. Yes, ma'am, I see a hand behind there. Would you come up and give us your name and home address? And if you have a statement or a question, we'll be glad to accept that.
Gowan. I live at 5245 Columbia Road, and my property is behind their location there next to Mr. Bohannon's, or between the property they have purchased and Mr. Bohannon's. And I'm really concerned about the drive. I understand on their property, if they want to have a road coming in and they're going to keep it up, who's going to keep that section up in the future? What happens then since it's going through private property?
Okay. Mr. Hogg, would you like to address that? Or is that something you'd feel more comfortable with depending on how this entire development changes? Okay. Yes, ma'am, we'll get you an answer to your question. Thank you very much.
Okay. The other thing is, how do we go about finding out what this is going to do to our tax structure?
As far as your property
Right,
or
as
the
far as
property that's being developed?
property they're not buying, what's going to happen to us, our tax structure, when they start developing all that property?
Sterling, I would assume it's not changed at all because you're not changing the category of property you own.
And I would refer you to the tax commissioner's office on any potential changes to taxes on your property. Like the chairman said, based on their development, it shouldn't impact yours. Yours is residential, zone residential use. It should be taxed as such and accordingly. But I would definitely check with the tax commissioner to see if there would be any impact if they were to develop that property.
Would it be the tax commissioner or the tax assessor's office?
Excuse me, tax assessor, yeah.
The other thing too, they requested to withdraw without prejudice. So the rezoning is not going to move forward.
Okay, yeah,
So it's not going to, there's no,
at this point.
at
No
this point,
immediate
yes,
change.
at this point, yeah.
He's right there, though. If you want to negotiate with him, he might want to buy your property while he's close by. I bet he's got his
That would
checkbook
solve-
with him.
That would solve the problem, wouldn't it?
Mr. Hogg, would you like to come up and address the young lady's question?
I'm Bo Slaughter.
Oh, I'm sorry. You look like David Hogg. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
That's, I know, and I'm not sure who's insulted more.
I don't know. That's okay.
That's on record too.
Just to answer the question about the access road or drive, that would be maintained by the developer. All of that driveway and parking, utilities, everything on that property. That's to answer that question.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And I'm sorry for the insult.
That's okay.
I've been up a long time. All right, gentlemen, is there anyone else who'd like to speak either for or against? If not, I'll close the public hearing, accept a motion to approve, to disapprove, or to allow the applicant to withdraw without prejudice.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to allow the withdrawal without prejudice. File VA 220602 variance to allow a driveway to cross a buffer at 5233 Columbia Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion approved, passes 5-0 to allow the applicant to withdraw without prejudice. We have reached the end of our agenda tonight. Do we have any staff or commissioner comments?
We'll have a abbreviated agenda next go-around due to the public noticing snafu. So
Okay.
have public hearings,
On their part or our part?
not on our part.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, any other questions? Okay. Do we have any public comments tonight? Gentlemen, I'll be over to you all after the meeting. If y'all have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Do I see Commissioner-elect Allison Couch in the crowd? Yes, ma'am. Is there anything you'd like to add? We appreciate you coming out tonight, and if there's anything any of us can do to help you in the transition, we'd be glad to meet with you individually or collectively and help you out however we can. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I believe we have reached the end of agenda. We need a motion for dismissal or
So moved.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Do I hear any discussion? All in favor? Motion to adjourn passes 5-0. Thank you for coming out. Meeting time is 6:36. Next meeting is June 16th, 2022 at 6 PM in these chambers.